Alright, today I'm going to give you a brief explanation of our newest and latest and greatest sheave, and hopefully this is absolutely the last time we have to do it. I think I just really can't come up with anything any better than what we have today. Some minor changes in 660, some bigger changes in 700 and a Wolverine, and we'll get to that. Alright, the first thing you'll notice about our sheave is it's a dark gray inside. This is a coating that we're applying now. For more information, other than me wasting your time on the video about this new dry lube coating, just go to our website, read a tech article about it. To explain it a little bit better and quicker than I can on this video, so that all three of our sheaves gets this coating, and it absolutely makes them last longer. Opened up our Wolverine and you'll see that I saw the inside of it. It was just slick, very, very slick, works great, and the weights themselves were impregnated with the same material. This is another reason why we don't have to do greaseless. It's just so freaking slick it works. Okay, so far as machining process goes, our 660, the only thing machining wise we changed is down in here in the web on these 4 locations. We relieved a little material out of it for the guys who want to convert over to a 700 cam plate can do it without losing any of their bottom end performance at all. Now we've been doing it for years. It's only like a millimeter if that, but if you want absolute maximum and don't want to lose anything, you certainly can use a 700 cam plate now because it's cheaper and better and you won't lose anything. So that's the only machining change on the 660. The other change on the 660 setup is for a lower ratio, so you can have lower lows. We're offering you to use a 700 Rhino belt. The difference between them is the 700 Rhino belt slightly narrower, so it comes down in the sheave a little further in the primary, higher in the second, and gives you the utmost lowest of lows that you could possibly have without the belt hitting the cover. Alright, so, and we still get the top end, everything, none of that changes. So that's the 660. Alright, this is a stock Wolverine sheave, but the 700 sheave looks just like it. You'll see the seal protrusion sticking out. Alright, we have removed it now. Alright, that purpose is to allow us to do some things to get the belt to come on down lower. It's been said that by removing it, the belt comes down. That's not true. By removing it, you allow the belt to come down for lower lows by some other method. Okay, and so while we're on that, real quick, as fast as I can do this video is that to get the lowest of lows, you got to move this sheave away from the inside sheave, like this. See, and so you got, this ain't an inside sheave, but the point is to get it apart, you get it lower. All right, so if you move it out so far, the belt can come on, down, but then it's going to rise up out of the secondary sheave and hit the cover. So there's just a limit to how much movement and machining you can do. Now inside our sheave, where we do the majority of our machining in this roller weight track, is we remove material inside, outside, so that this thing sits as far away as possible. And then what we're doing is, as you can see from this one, is machining that seal surface off, putting the seal deeper in a deeper pocket, and I'm giving you now a half millimeter shim for all models. 660, 700, and Wolverine now gets that half a millimeter shim to push it out a little bit more and give it maximum belt travel. Okay, so now on the 700, you also have the option of a low ratio belt. I'm not telling what that belt is. If somebody wants to know, they'll just have to figure that out. I figured it out, and nonetheless. Anyway, we got a low ratio belt that with the shim is going to put that belt as high up out of the secondary clutch as possible. It is so close to the cover, but yet we're not hitting it. Alright, so once again, 660 has a low ratio belt option, which is a 700 belt. The 700 has a low belt option, not telling what that one is, and they all get shims. Wolverine, however, does not get a low belt option because with our machining and the half millimeter shim, it is absolutely the most movement you can get on it. You cannot go any lower here and higher in that secondary without hitting the cover. I tried it. It can't be done. And that's why I say ours is the best, because you can't physically do it. Now we have a competitor. I've heard they're going to make this collar that this clutch rides on a little bit longer to space it out. You can add shims to space it out. But once again, whatever you physically do, there's just so much you can move it out to where that belt doesn't hit the cover. And so when you have maximum belt travel like we do now, you can't beat it. We've tried everything. You can machine this tower off, you can set cam plates lower, you can put smaller weights in it. Everything you do moves it away and creates that problem. Now if you didn't want to run a cover, then we can certainly do that. Okay, so now the only downside to the low ratio belts in the 700 and the 660 is you may experience a drop in top speed off of the maximum. Now 700 Rhino, mine used to run 65 miles an hour. Most don't. But I had the motor that propelled me, so that machine may not run but 63 with this low ratio belt in there. But for the average guy, like my present Rhino, you know, it runs 55, 58 with the tires and windshield, the roof and all that. I didn't lose anything because I wasn't up there at that 65 range. So you have the potential to lose top speed with a low ratio belt if you're up near that envelope and you would want to run your normal stock, not necessarily stock or Gates belt. Alright, so, and I am talking fast, but to make it clear, you have an option to run stock belt in 660 and 700 or the low ratio. Even with stock belt, you're getting lower lows than you are stock. It's just with the newest, latest, and greatest, it's even more so, and there's absolutely the maximum amount you can move anything without it hitting the cover. See, so what we did, instead of moving the sheave out anymore, or any other method, we took a little bit narrower belt that dropped it down. Okay, so again, it's two stages with us. Stock belt's lower, low ratio belt's lower. Wolverine, you're going to use a stock belt and a shim, and it is absolutely the most lowest, and it sticks out a good bit in that secondary too. It's really close to the cover, but it's safe. Okay, so far this is why I'm saying we have the best there is, and I promise you, I just don't think we can make it any better. Okay, I mean, me and the engineer both, as long as you can run the cover, you just can't make it. Can't do anything any different in the machining process or belt manipulation better than we can. I hope I made that clear if I hadn't said it too much. Okay, the other thing is I'm the one that created these overdrive weights years ago. They were sliding weights. We made the overdrive weights with Dr. Pulley. It took us about 3 months to get them to understand because they don't speak English. I was drawing on a whiteboard, etc. We abandoned them about 3 years ago. Let me tell you some downsides to overdrive weights is. This is a round weight. And you'll see that's how you get the higher top speeds, because it's taller. The downside is in the clutch, it's always going to have the sheave pushed in further than a round weight is. Now, you can accomplish the low end by doing some machining and moving stuff around, but once it starts moving out, it's always going to be taller and have the belt at a different location than a round one. So acceleration, if you could measure it accurately, it's always going to be better with a round. Another thing, difference in round and the overdrive weight is this contact patch. There's a lot of friction right here running on a cam plate. Okay, with a round one, you just got one little spot. Okay, so there's less friction, quicker acceleration, and they're both greaseless. All right, so and I've heard, you know, the debate greaseless. Maybe these do need grease because there's so much friction involved. All right, the last thing. And this didn't come in the kit, but it's just something I need to explain to you is friction washers. Okay, friction washers was a great idea. What's available before us was a couple of little plastic washers, and like I said, a good idea, bad execution. So basically, there's a spring cup, secondary spring sits in, and as that clutch opens, it binds, tries to twist, or skips. And so the idea was to put a couple of these plastic washers in so that it moves freely. The downside of the plastic is you can see that little sharp edge. When you put the plastic on there, it can grab, especially under heat, basically renders them useless. Alright, so what we did, and my friend Michael came up with, is these metal washers. There's two of them here, and he's impregnated them with the same lube that's in our Sheave, but in powder form, and impregnated them in there. Okay, and so you need to watch a little video on how to put them in, but you just drop them out of the plastic, don't touch them, leave the powder on, drop them in a spring cup. But anyway, the idea now is they sit there and it turns, all right, and now it turns freely. It causes metal, it can't grab in there, and that makes it better. All right, hopefully that's I hadn't looked at time on this yet. That's a short explanation of what we're doing, why we're doing. We tried everything known to man that we could come up with, and really dug back into this, tested it on my Rhino 700, Wolverine, and like I said, I just think we finally have what we consider the absolute best machine sheave on the market today. And I keep saying this, but I can't think of a way to make it any better than what we have today. And I think we have eliminated all potential problems with it. So, you got any questions or concerns or whatever you got, give me a holler. Thanks.